My name is Carson Jones, and I am a student at RCC, and I'm also enrolled at Providence Grove High School. I plan to go into business in college, so I'm trying to get as many business classes as I can done, so I'll have an easier ride in college. Today, we will be going over a case study that involves a girl named Susan, and her professor. But first, I'd like to talk about ethics. I think ethics is right or wrong. So, good ethics is doing the right thing when nobody's watching, and bad ethics would be like cheating, plagiarism, anything like that. So, a little bit about Susan. She is fresh out of high school, and she is going into college. Her freshman year, she thought it was going to be easy, she thought it was going to be a breeze, but no, it wasn't. She was on academic aid, but she ended up failing all of her classes. And since she failed all of her classes, she was no longer on academic aid, and she was not receiving help paying for her classes. And since she lost all of her money, she had to get a job, and so she was working a job trying to pay for all of her classes that she had failed, because you have to pay for the months you failed them, and paying for the new classes that she'd be taking when she was a sophomore. So fast forward to sophomore year, she's taking 6 classes, she's working really hard, she's paying all of her classes, everything's going really well, but she has this history class, and she's not the best at history, and she doesn't like it, so she pushes all the work to the end of the week. She always does history last, she hates it, she doesn't enjoy the work, and she pushes it off. So she's actually having a rough time in history. She's about to fail the class, and then there's spring break, and she was planning on going home for 4 days and then working on her big history project, coming back early and working on it so she would be good for her history class. But she ended up staying 2 extra days, and she had no time for her history project. So she ran out of time on her history project. She resorted to cheating and plagiarizing all of her work, and because of that, she was gonna get punished. So, if I was her professor, I would use the 5 tests to solve this solution of her plagiarizing her tests, or her big history project. And so the 5 tests are the honesty test. So when she signed the syllabus for that class, there was specifically a rule that said plagiarism resulted in a 0. So she plagiarized, so she should get a 0. And then there's the legal test. The school policy, not just the class, but the school policy resorted that any plagiarism would receive a 0 because it is not your work and you are cheating. Then there's a conscience test. If I let her slide, what about all the other students that I held accountable throughout their time in my classes? It would not be fair to them. They did all the hard work, they did everything on time. It's just not fair to any of the students. And then there's the consequence test. Rules, at the end of the day, rules are rules, and you have to follow them. So she didn't follow the rules. The school has no plagiarism. Her class said no plagiarism. She cheated. That's breaking the rules. So I can't let her slide because that's not fair to everybody else. So she plagiarized, so she will get a 0. And then the last test of the 5 is the publicity test. And that test is like, what if it got out that I let her slide, I said it's okay, I won't let it hurt your grade, and you go through all the troubles you'd have to go through. Well, if that got out, then would I want to be known as the professor who let my student cheat their way out of their assignment and bent the rules for this student. And at the end of the day, I would not want to be known as that guy. So, after the 5 tests, the honesty test, the legal test, the conscience test, the consequence test, and the publicity test, I would have to give her 0. I know it would be tough for her, and she'll probably struggle because now she'll have to work and pay for this class that she just failed because of me, but in the end of the day, it's not because of me, because she is the one who resulted to plagiarism, and that deserves a 0. Now, even though she gets a 0, I think she can learn from it, and I think she can do better, and she won't make that mistake again, because, like, if I make a mistake, if I touch an electric fence, I'm going to learn, think to myself, I'm not going to do that again. So I don't think she'll make the mistake again. I think I'm doing the right thing, being fair to all the classmates by giving her a 0, because it's what she deserved, and I think it'll help her do better. Thank you for watching my oral presentation number 2. I really enjoyed this case. I think it can help me down the road, since I want to go into the business field, like, know what's right from wrong, know not to plagiarize, and yeah, I think it's really great. I've enjoyed this class so far, and yeah, thank you for joining me. Can't wait to see you next time.